How did Shivaji reign supreme? His leadership and war tactics played an important role, and Chatrapati Shivaji was the finest at it. Coming to his war tactic, he always preferred mind games over full front war. He knew his strength and weakness. The Sahyadri mountain, difficult weather, strong fortress, and loyal people were his strength. He preferred the guerrilla warfare. It's something similar to a surgical strike. It's also similar to a blitzkrieg, a small scale attack at a lightning speed, destroying the enemy post before they even realized that they were under attack, killing a few and running away, then coming back again to deal with a greater force, inflicting heavy damage, leading the enemy into small traps, throwing them into a disadvantage, defeating them with small little forces that they would have never even imagined, and then eventually vanishing into thick forests. In Chatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's army, the spy network was extremely well organized and coordinated. Every relevant detail about the enemy movement or impending attack was passed on to Raigad. Capital received minutes of detail about enemy whereabouts, empowering Shivaji to plan and execute a counter-attack. In an era where traveling from one place to another place took hours, days, or even months depending on the location, intelligence data used to swiftly pass on to the capital. The intelligence department was headed by Bahirji Nayak, extremely skilled in the art of disguise. It said only a very few people could recognize him, including Chatrapati Shivaji Maharaj with his penetrating hawk eyes. He could identify the man behind the disguise. The surgical strike of Lal Mahal or the Battle of Umairkand or even any specific battle was backed by persistent directions or accurate details that were received by the intelligence department. Operating without any advanced technology or any sophisticated systems of today's era and delivering the best results under immense pressure is what defines the espionage network of Chatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Shivaji had well-trained espionage system providing accurate information about enemy movements to Chatrapati Shivaji, but when also responsible for misleading enemy troops by appearing to leak information. It would no doubtly be called as one of the best. His ability to take the right and quick decisions at the right time, had it not been for the impregnable intelligence network and superior foresight of Chatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, a single slip or a wrong move would have been fatal.
When he was around 27 to 29 years old, he started building his naval fleet. Marathas did not possess the technology because for 6 to 7 centuries, no Indian had worked in the direction. Interestingly, in 1674, at the time when he was crowned, he owned meager number of 50 combat and trading vessels. When he got himself crowned as a king, the size of the fleet had risen up to 700. Rightfully the father of guerrilla warfare, he is referred to as Shivsutra. From a small contingent of 2,000 soldiers which he inherited from his father, he managed to create a force of 100,000 soldiers. Shivaji also was the first Indian ruler to discard war elephants as they slowed the speed and the movement. This strategic doctrine relied on swift movement and mobile defense. Therefore, the dependency on the horses were in large number, ensuring quality breeding of horses in his armed forces. These were Bhim-Tadi horses. The Marathas specifically trained these horses for Sahyadri mountain ranges. The Marathas bred and trained these horses that were perfect for the region's geography. Apart from Bhim-Tadi horses, Arabian horses were used in the Maratha stable. Shivaji believed in the doctrine of total war and never shirked from achieving annihilation of the enemy. If he had to make compromises and truces, these were clearly due to the requirement of the situation and not a matter of choice. Shivaji, a master of impeccable planning, all his wars were part of well-thought and planned strategy. None of the wars he fought resulted due to provocation. Also, he made the enemy psychologically feel at an advantageous position. Above all, He believed in relentless offensive action and never permitted the enemy time to regroup.
Shivaji did not place any value on the mere possession of the battlefield. Rather, he made the enemy army his target. Thus, finding himself in a disadvantaged position, he would not hesitate howsoever in abandoning the battlefield.
Let's take example of Battle of Pratapgarh, of how he played with the enemy mind. Afzal Khan was sent with a huge army to tackle Shivaji. It was impossible to defeat him in open ground, and Shivaji knew it. On the way, Afzal destroyed temples, burned villages, killed common people in desperate attempt to provoke and push Shivaji to a state of desperation, instigate him to kickstart a battle, but Shivaji would not face him. This led to his people losing their morale. So when Afzal was approaching the next temple, Shivaji directed few of his confidants to hide the deity from the temple. Therefore, when Afzal went to attack the temple, the idol of God was missing. Seeing this, Afzal gloated in euphoria and claimed that, "Look, even God fears me." When Afzal proceeded ahead, Maharaja, in the darkness of the hour, in complete secrecy, got the deity reinstalled in the temple. People took it as work of God. God had disappeared and reappeared, and now he is with us. This was quite successful in boosting their morale. Finally, to stop the havoc Afzal was creating, Maharaja decided to lure him into fake surrender. He sent notices with pretensions of being weaker and signals of surrendering out of fear of conquest.
He made nice arrangements for them, fed them food, which would be consisting of some amount of drugs, and nobody was about to expect a war, except Chatrapati Shivaji and Afzal Khan. They both were ready to kill each other. Shivaji always 2 steps ahead of his enemy. The clash between the two happened, and everyone knew about it from the Maratha side. But Afzal's forces were amused and they were not ready for an attack. They were under attack from hidden Maratha forces from all sides. With not being able to fight without a leadership, they all surrendered.
The results were surprising. In March 1665, when a powerful Mughal army under Jai Singh of Jaipur descended on Maharashtra, Shivaji did not hesitate in giving up most of his forts as well as territory, and on June 13th, 1665, he signed a treaty with the Mughals. But in less than 5 months, he ensured the defeat of the Mughal army in its battles against the Bijapur Sultan. In 1666, after his successful escape from Agra, in less than 2 years, Shivaji recaptured the entire territory lost to the Mughals by the earlier treaty. He placed great value on forts, yet his defensive strategy was not based on any kind of static defense. Forts for him were secure, firm bases from which to launch counter-defensive.
The English are no ordinary traders or moneylenders. Behind them stands a powerful and mighty state. They are so clever that they will steal under your nose without you even knowing. Be cautious of them while dealing with them. Chatrapati Shivaji wrote this to one of his officers. Interestingly, the last battle that Chatrapati Shivaji fought was against the English. He occupied a fortress in the island of Khanderi, 16 kilometers of south of Mumbai, in order to keep the British at check. He was amongst the few Indians who understood the long-term threat posed by the British.